You're listening to episode number 31 of the Mind Body Masters podcast, and this episode is titled The 7 Signs Your Client's Pain Has an Emotional Origin. So if you're a practitioner, you're a wellness professional, or someone who has clients who are dealing with pain, this episode is going to be really enlightening for you. We are going to discuss, as the title suggests, the 7 signs that pain has an emotional origin, and learning to recognize these signs in your own clients is going to really start making a difference into your practice, and it's going to start to give you the tools and the skills to help the people out there dealing with persistent injuries, chronic pain, who have just tried everything. They've seen all kinds of practitioners, spent thousands of dollars on appointments along the way, and they're going to come to you, and because you've listened to this episode, you're going to know exactly what to do to help them. Welcome to the Mind Body Masters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jake Curry, chiropractor, mind body expert, and the creator of Mind Body Therapy and the NeuroShift. This podcast is for health and wellness professionals who want to become exceptional at their craft. Here I will help you master the emotional origins of pain and chronic disease so you can get life-changing results for your clients and grow your healthcare business from the inside out. So if you're ready to discover a modern, holistic approach to healthcare that will benefit even your most complex clients, set you apart with a unique point of difference, increase demand for your services, and help you offer virtual consultations, then this podcast is for you. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mind Body Masters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jake Curry. Now, in this episode, we are going to be addressing the top 7 signs that your patient or your client's pain, their musculoskeletal condition, has an emotional origin. Now, this is going to be incredibly useful if you are a practitioner and you deal with a lot of people in pain, and you have some people that just never get better, never seem to respond, or you might label them as kind of complex cases. Okay, so we're going to be diving into the top 7 causes that their pain does have an emotional origin. And this work is going to follow on really nicely if you have the ebook that I recently created, the Emotional Origins of Pain ebook. This is a really practical handbook for health professionals, practitioners, and wellness professionals who have patients that are dealing with pain. And in that, we outline the specific emotional origins of all the different types of musculoskeletal conditions. So if you want to grab a copy of that before you watch this episode or listen to this episode, just head on over to mindbodymasters.com/guide, and you can download that bad boy for free. It's a really incredible resource. It outlines, as I said, all the specific conflicts for, say, shoulder pain and neck pain, jaw pain, lower back pain, hip pain, knee pain, all the common musculoskeletal pain points that we would see. And in there, it has, I've created questions that you can ask your clients to help identify the emotional root cause of their pain condition. But before I continue, what I want to say is that not all pain has an emotional cause. It's only it's a subset of people dealing with pain. So for example, if you have a patient and they've got a sore hip because they got hit by a car, is likely not going to be an emotional cause to that. There's likely a structural cause to that or a physical cause to that. But the type of pain that I'm talking about here today is what we call the grey pain cases. These cases aren't so black and white. They have some kind of subtle signs that they aren't improving with conventional care. And one of the signs that we look for with this is often these people in pain have had pain for quite a long time. Their pain comes back again and again. They have seen all kinds of practitioners. They've tried all different types of therapy, and their pain is still persisting. Okay, so this work is perfectly positioned to help those people. And what I'm teaching you here today and what's in that guide, and also what we teach inside our pain mastery program for health professionals, can help you really get to the bottom of pain and musculoskeletal conditions for those type of people. Now, why is that important? Well, not only is it incredibly fulfilling for you as a practitioner to help someone who has tried all these other therapies and all these other practitioners and none of them have been able to help them. Being able to help them not only feels really fulfilling, but it's a great way to grow your business from the inside without all kinds of spammy marketing, right? So If you're able to get results for people who haven't been able to get results elsewhere, it helps you develop an incredible reputation. These people typically will sing your name from the rooftops. And it really makes it easy to attract a whole heap of new clients who are wanting the same help. So this is why I want to teach this, because not only is it going to help you grow your business, but right now there are so many people out there struggling with these kind of ongoing persistent injuries and pain and things like chronic pain. And there's not many practitioners out there that actually have the skills and the tools to help those people. So I want to equip you with the tools so you can go out there and help those people, because they really do need your help. A little stat on that, something like 20% of the adult population worldwide will experience some kind of musculoskeletal pain that doesn't improve with conventional treatment. So what we know is that's around 960 million people at any given time who are dealing with these chronic pain conditions, persistent injuries that don't improve, and they've already sought out conventional care. So if you want to learn how to help those people, it's a great place to start and a great place to grow your business. So we're going to jump into that now. So we're going to look at the 7 signs that your client or your patient's pain, or maybe you, if you have pain yourself, has an emotional origin to it. Okay, so let's start with number 1. That's a nice place to start. Now, these are listed in no particular order. These are just the order in which they popped into my brain. Okay, so the first one here is an unexplained pain, or pain that has no clear mechanism of injury, or MOI. Now, think about this for a second. If you have someone who, let's just use the example, I do CrossFit, I love CrossFit. Let's say you've got someone who does a deadlift wrong at the gym, and all of a sudden they have back pain and sciatica. That's a pretty clear mechanism of injury, okay? So there was some kind of event or accident, or there is some kind of structural explanation for their pain. I'll get to this in a second about if it doesn't improve, but oftentimes when people have an emotional origin to their pain, or there is a stress-based cause to their musculoskeletal condition, it will be unexplained. There won't be a clear mechanism of injury. So maybe one day they just wake up and they're dealing with excruciating sciatica or excruciating neck pain or shoulder pain. And there's no obvious reason for that. They haven't fallen downstairs, they haven't been hit by a car, they haven't done anything. They've got pain that is quite severe and intense, or could even just be small and nagging, but it showed up for no particular reason. This is a sure sign that there is a stress-based cause to their condition, and you need to address it if you want to help them to get well. Number 2. This goes in with the first one. So let's say your client is that CrossFitter who does a deadlift wrong and they've got sciatica, or they've got pain in their lower back now. What we know is that if you structurally injure a muscle, a ligament, a joint, or a disc or a tissue, typically that's going to take around 4 to 8 weeks to heal. So if your client does absolutely nothing, seeks no treatment and just rests, what we're going to find is that after around that 8-week period, they should be pain-free. The body should have healed and recovered and done all the necessary things for them to no longer be in pain. But if they have pain that's persisted for longer than 3 months here, this is kind of the magic number. 3 to 6 months is kind of the general rule of thumb for chronic pain, is if you're dealing with pain that's longer than 3 months. Often there is going to be an emotional or a stress-based cause to that. Now, there's a couple phenomena that we see. They might be dealing with some kind of conflict that started the pain. But if they did have a clear mechanism of injury, like the case with the deadlift, what you're going to find is that now their nervous system is going to go through a series of adaptations and changes that's going to help them to, or going to cause them to continue to experience pain long after the body has healed. Now, we call this phenomenon central sensitization. This is essentially where your client will experience real pain signals in the absence of any physical changes in the body, okay? And so we need to learn how to address this, because if you don't address this for your clients, they're going to cycle and spiral downwards into some really debilitating chronic pain, and we need to learn how to address this. And like I said at the start of this episode, there are so many people out there struggling with these persistent injuries and chronic pain. and there's not enough practitioners that have the skills or the tools to help them. So this is why I want to empower you, because these people need you. They need skilled and dedicated practitioners who are willing to look at beyond the symptoms and actually treat the person and not just the symptoms. Okay, so that's number 2. Pain that has lasted longer than 3 months. Number 3, scans and tests are all normal. Okay, so this is a pretty obvious one. So let's say you've got a client and they're dealing with debilitating sciatica, and naturally you might get some x-rays, all clear. Then you go, well, let's investigate this a little bit further. Let's get an MRI. And all those scans, all those tests come back normal. It doesn't seem to be there's any physiological reason or any structural reason for them to be experiencing pain. Okay, so this is a really, really good one to look at, and it's a good sign that there is some stress-based causes. Now on that, scans and MRIs and things like that are incredible tools, but they don't always paint the full picture. I'm going to completely butcher this study in terms of paraphrasing it. I've forgotten the exact details of it. It's been such a long time since I've looked at this study. But basically, they got a group of people off the street who had no pain at all. And what they then did is they did MRIs of their lower back, I think. Again, someone in the comments or someone who's read the study recently, please just let me know where I'm wrong on this one. But they took MRIs of their lower back, and what they found is that a huge percentage of these asymptomatic pain-free humans had really bad disc bulges that would warrant some form of treatment. Okay, so one thing to note here is that scans don't always paint a full picture, especially when it comes to pain. Okay, so, and by the way, no human is perfect. If you have pain and you take scans, it's pretty easy to go, I think this thing over here could be causing that pain. So scans and tests aren't always an accurate representation for pain. We need to treat the man or the woman, not the scan. So treat the man, not the scan. That's one of my favorite sayings. Okay, so, but yeah, again, if they've got scans and they're testing, they're all appearing normal, emotional origin, stress-based cause. That's the first thing I want you to think. Number 4, their pain does not respond to treatment. So let's say you've got a client and they've got neck pain, and you've seen hundreds of clients with neck pain over the course of your career. And normally you do X, Y, Z, and it seems to respond within, 2 to 3 visits. You start seeing some good results. But if you have a client who has an emotional origin to their pain, if there is a stress-based cause to their pain, you can do all the treatment in the world and you can do it perfectly, but their pain doesn't seem to respond. Now, doesn't respond will often fall into 2 kind of categories. It'll either, 1, not respond at all, it won't change at all, or 2, it'll get a little bit better, but then the pain will just return in a similar way, maybe a week, maybe a month later. Okay, so it just keeps coming back again and again. So again, if it was a structural based cause, like the practitioners that I work with and talk to, they're all really skilled at what they do, and all modalities are fantastic. Like chiropractic's fantastic, massage is fantastic, physio is fantastic, and they all work, right? But if the client has a emotional origin to their musculoskeletal condition, or there is a stress-based nervous system reason for their pain, these amazing modalities aren't going to help. Okay, so we need to look at more than just the structural side of things, and we need to learn how to address the mental, emotional, and the nervous system-based changes that occur with persistent injuries and chronic pain. All right, so number 5. Their pain started during a stressful time in their life. So this kind of ties into number 1. So maybe their pain was unexplained. Maybe there was no real clear mechanism of injury. But what we know is that their lower back pain, their neck pain, their shoulder pain started during a particularly stressful time that they were experiencing. Maybe a stressful relationship challenge, or maybe a work situation that was cropping up. Maybe it was an argument or something that caught them off guard, something stressful that happened. If their pain started during that time, again, that is actually the mechanism of injury, right? So we'd start to look at the stress or the emotional side of things as the actual mechanism of injury. And as a side note, one of the things that I talk about with this is when I'm saying things like, oh, this client's pain has a stress-based cause or a emotional origin to it, often what people interpret that to be is that they're making the pain up, or it's all in their head. And that's just not the case. What modern science is now starting to understand is that mental and emotional stress can impact the muscles, the ligaments, and the joints in the exact same way as physical stresses. So the emotional, the mental stress can cause real physiological changes in the tissues. Okay, so if their pain started during that stressful period of time, that's definitely worth looking at. This is a really interesting one. This one is particularly the case with central sensitization, and when the nervous system is in this really heightened state that causes increased pain signals to the brain, is that the pain will move around and change. So maybe one day it's in their shoulder, the next day it's in their lower back, now it's in their knee, and it's in their toe, and then the next day it's in their ear. I don't know. But if their pain moves around and follows no clear, obvious pattern, this is a sign that there is going to be some kind of emotional origin there too. And lastly, number 7, their pain comes back regularly. So this might be that 3 times a year they're later in debilitating back pain. It might be that every 6 months they get this shoulder pain that flares up, and it's been something that's been on and off or has come and gone for years on end. So this can also sort of play out in terms of there's this sense that there's like a bit of an injury there, and it's often laying dormant, and then it just comes out again and again and rears its ugly head. And people will come to you and they're like, "Oh, Jake, that neck pain's back again," and they'll often label it like, "Oh, that neck pain," because they're so familiar with it. It's something that they've lived with and it's come and gone throughout their life quite a lot. So if this is the case, there is, again, usually a stress-based cause or an emotional origin to their musculoskeletal pain, and you want to address that if you want to help them to actually heal there. Okay, so these are the 7 signs, right? So I'll quickly go over them. Unexplained, no clear mechanism of injury. Number 2, pain that's lasted longer than 3 months. Their scans and their tests are normal. They're not responding to treatment. Their pain started during a stressful period of their life. Their pain moves around their body, and it comes back regularly again and again. So these are the 7 signs that your client, their pain has some kind of stress-based cause. Now, so tie this neatly in a bow with the Emotional Origins of Pain ebook. You can start to see the specific types of emotional conflicts that are causing various musculoskeletal conditions. Now, how do you help these people? How do you actually help them to heal when there has been a stress-based or emotional cause to their pain? And the answer is really simple. It's simple, but the process is something you need to practice and you need to learn. So essentially, all we need to do here is I call it the 3-step approach. It's find it, feel it, and then heal it. So the find it is really simple. We need to identify the specific event, stressful situation that is linked to their pain. Okay, and we need to help them become aware of this. We need to help them understand that tough relationship breakup that they went through 6 years ago is partly why their shoulder is still playing up. Or we need to understand that when they feel financial pressure at work, that's when they're going to experience this other lower back thing or knee thing. So helping people understand the link between their mind and the body is the first step to helping them heal. And that ebook, which you can get on our website, is going to be a really great resource for you to get started with this. But then the next thing we need to do is we need to feel it. And this is all about down-regulating the nervous system. This is actually how we address that element of central sensitization. Basically, to put this in a nutshell for you, is we need to help their nervous system go from a really heightened sympathetic dominant state, and we need to help them to switch into more of a parasympathetic state. So this is where we can start to give some mind-body based tools and therapies to help their nervous system to actually change these pain signals in the brain and to down-regulate that pain response. And lastly, we need to help them to heal or change their perspective around that particular situation that started the thing. So let's say it was they went through a tricky breakup, for example, and that's what triggered their shoulder pain. We need to actually help them reorganize the memories of that time in their neurology so that they're less triggering. And so I created a technique called the NeuroShift, which does this really, really incredibly. We actually use a series of like eye quadrants that we can play out, and we can test memories in different eye quadrants, and it helps us understand where these stresses are caused. So When you can do those 3 steps, when you can help them find the original event, when you can help them down-regulate their nervous system, and then when you can help them change their perspective and change how these old memories are represented internally in their neurology, this is how you can help people to overcome persistent injuries and chronic pain once and for all. And as I said, there is such a need for this right now. There are so many people out there dealing with chronic and persistent pain. And there's so many professionals and health professionals that just don't know how to do it, how to work with these people. So they just get referred out and they just bounce around all different types of therapists. Or they just put in the too hard basket. Whereas learning how to do this work is actually not that difficult. It's quite simple when you know what you're looking for. And the best bit is you don't really need to get tied up in, you don't need to become a counselor overnight and start doing long ass sessions with your clients, delving into all the emotional complexities that come with a human experience. You can really shift someone's neurology quite quickly in under 10 minutes, right? So, which is kind of really cool. So yeah, if you'd like to learn more about how you can do this, you can join the waitlist. We have an incredible program. Depending on when you're listening to this, our next cohort is coming up very shortly. You can head on over to our website, mindbodymasters.com, to get more information on the Pain Mastery program. And you can join the waitlist. So depending on when you're listening to this, the enrollments might be open, they might not be. If they're not open, just jump on the waitlist and I'll let you know when the next cohort is starting. So thanks so much for listening. I hope you found this useful. Start applying this. Start looking at your patients who are dealing with persistent or weird or complex pain cases. Start looking at them through this lens, and I guarantee you'll start to get some incredible results quite quickly, especially when you use that guide as well. So I will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate you listening all the way through, because there is people out there right now that need practitioners like you. So thank you for being here. I'll talk to you soon.